So as you can see, the installer is finished with CD2. We'll press C to continue, which is the default, and any packages required for CD3 will be installed from CD3. Let's go ahead and eject the disk. We'll press 1 for CD DVD, which will eject CD2, and then insert CD number 3. Again, if you have a DVD-ROM, you're better served by downloading simply from Sun the DVD image of the software. Let's go ahead and press enter. This will eject the existing disk, and momentarily we'll begin reading the contents of CD number 3. We'll just have to go through this for each disk. It takes a while. Slow process, but we should be done within the next 10 to 20 minutes or so. So this will copy, similar to the recent install, and you'll see a progress bar across the screen as the packages are copied from the disk. Each of the disks store about 700 megs, and there are 4 of them, so obviously many of the packages are compressed since the entire distribution is about 4,500 megs, but it's actually under. And we're going to install this now. We're prompted, as we were for the other one. We'll press enter to install now. And the progress bar will begin towards the bottom. This is only 543 megs, so it shouldn't take too long. Should be a quick copy. We'll wait for this to go through. And if you're following along, you should see a similar menu. If you've indeed installed using the console option, you should see a menu presented similarly. If you've selected the graphical option, you should see similar choices, only presented in a graphical window. So there shouldn't be much of a difference other than the GUI itself. And right now the CD-ROM is still spinning, indicating it's copying. The progress is indicated below, with each quarter representing roughly quarter of the percentage. So we're near the halfway point now of the 543 megs necessary to get us to the next disk. So it shouldn't take that much longer. Again, we're going to be doing other installs, including installing across the network using PXE, which means we'll need to configure DHCP to point us to a TFTP server. We'll also need to use the Solaris DVD to set up the image on a Solaris server that we have on the network called UnixCBT Sun 2. So we'll walk you through that process so that you can make progress within your environment in terms of setting up repositories for the Solaris 10 source. So this will go through, and we'll be checking in and out to ensure that we're making progress. Now we're prompted for the next disk, so we'll press C to continue again. And this should pop up momentarily where to find the final disk, disk 4. Option 1, CD DVD, causes the eject momentarily, at which point we'll provide CD number 4. And the installer should have it momentarily. So let's go ahead and press enter to have it read the disk. And this should be the final disk. Again, it's a 4 CD set. You can download it from sun.com, but you'll need to register in order to be able to download Solaris on CD or DVD for either platform, Spark or x86. This will go through a similar routine. This text-based installer doesn't show you or enumerate the packages being installed as they're being installed, as is the case with some Linux distros such as SUSE and Red Hat. But nonetheless, in the pre-installation screen, we saw the classes of programs that were to be installed, and we have a sense for what's going to be installed. And you can always consult the Sun documentation to see what's included with the entire distribution. It basically includes a fully networked system with NFS, multi-user, compilers, and most of the tools that you expect on a standard Unix system. The installer has finally determined what's on the disk, so let's go ahead and tell it to install. We do have the option, as you can see, to exit the installation if we determine that we want to start over or are unhappy with this particular installation selection, which is the entire distribution, or whatever you select. So you can bail out at any point, which is basically the point. This disk will expand to 742 megabytes worth of info. So this one will take a little bit longer than the disk number 3. But once we've completed this step, we'll be close to completion of the entire installation of Solaris 10.01.06 x86. As you can see, we're making progress here on disk number 4. We're now at the quarter mark, so just 3/4 left to go before we're done with the CD number 4. So we're almost there. Approaching halfway. And we're almost finishing up here with this install. So super, this is moving along nicely. If you have access to the DVD, however, use it, or if you have the files on a network server, after having installed a network server using the add install client, by all means do so, because then you don't have to switch media, and you can simply have the installation process play itself out for the most part unattended after completing the essential items. And once this is done, Solaris will prompt us, and we'll be close to rebooting the system and coming up for the first time in graphical mode. If there are problems launching the VGA interface, then Solaris will resort to a console-only mode, whereas with Linux, it defaults to 6 consoles plus a graphical console on console number 7. But with Solaris, it defaults to the graphical environment, and if it fails, it reverts to the console environment. So it's meant to be used from the graphical environment, and of course run services in the background in true Unix fashion. So we've gone through 4 CDs, and there's still more information on the companion CD as well as the documentation CD that you can install to extend the capability of your system. Now let's see what we have here. This is pretty much done. Pausing for 30 seconds, press enter to continue. And at this stage, if there's additional software that we need to install, we would have to add that disk. If we press enter to continue, which is the default, it will expect an additional disk, and we'd have to feed it that disk. But in this case, there is no additional software that we'd like to install. So let's just continue, and you'll see the resulting screen as a result of continuing without inserting a new CD that is an additional software CD.